welcome to another board game review from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Grant.
And today we're taking a look at Agents of Mayhem, Pride of Babylon. Normally we've got the box on the table, but the box is huge, and it quite literally does not fit on my table, because this, as you can see, is a very large game.
It's a space eater.
Yes. So
and I'm assuming there are scenarios that are much, much bigger than this.
There are scenarios that are bigger than this,
okay,
but not by much.
Okay.
We have a lot of the stuff on the board. I think there's like a third as much as three other whole buildings, but you use a lot of it a lot of the time, which is nice.
Got it.
It's not one of those games where they give you all this stuff and you're like, you use 2 buildings, and then you like grow to 3. Like it's like once you've gone through the learning tutorials, you're like, here it is.
Yeah.
Like you do it.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy. So as you can see, we got little guys on the board. This is a 2-player tactical miniatures game. Obviously, you've got the 3D elements to it. And
both inside, outside, on top of.
Yes.
Blocking line of sight.
And that's, so this...
Taking damage.
Yeah, like...
That dark matter grenade almost collapsed the building. That was awesome.
And you can collapse buildings.
Yeah.
That's what's nice about this is, it's got these layers on these kind of pegs. So you get a full 3D terrain, and a lot of it in the game. So a lot of other miniatures games, you get the terrain, but you have to either make it or you paint it. Where do you store that? This is all flat pack like IKEA. That's why the box is so big. But you get a ton of it. You get this really huge game with a ton of new stuff that a lot of tactical miniatures are played on a flat-ish surface with just blocking terrain. Here you've got different floors. You go up the stairs, in and out, jump off the buildings, get pushed off the buildings, and all of it is... Don't need any painting.
Yeah.
Don't need any...
Well, you can paint the minis.
You can paint the minis,
but I don't know that
but you don't
it's not
need
necessary.
To. But the terrain aspect is what scares a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Painting some miniatures isn't that hard, or you can buy those.
But painting and assembling
all the terrain, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
This gives it to you all in one box. And there's a whole bunch of it. The game itself is asymmetrical. In the sense of the actual units that you have. The Mayhem side, you have like three characters. They're elite.
They're
have
unique characters,
cool abilities. The Legion side usually has one big unique elite guy, and then a whole bunch of these minions, which are kind of in groups of different types.
Yeah.
And they just...
Hell troopers, blitz troopers, these swarm troopers. Yeah.
So they play slightly differently with a few rules there. But generally speaking, it's the same iconography and they work in a similar type of way. It's just different how you actually use them tactically on the board.
Right.
So this is and that's the other thing. Agents of Mayhem is it's an IP, it's a property in the Saints Row universe. So there's a whole series of the Saints Row video games. There's like 5 or 6 of those. And then they made Agents of Mayhem, which is a spin-off of that. This is a board game version of that. As such, it does feel like a video game at times.
Yeah.
You do really crazy stunts.
Well, you jump around a lot.
Everything's over the top.
Yep.
Just pew-pewing each other. But in the same way, when you play a video game, you're managing your health bar and like a stamina bar.
Your special points bar. And
this has a resource-based system with different colored cubes for different types of things. So you get some of that really cool feel and the ducking and dodging and diving around the map. And some of the objectives feel video gamey, capture these points on the board, be the only ones next to them. And it's got this cool theme and pulpy story, which is fun.
Well, I thought, one of the things as we were playing, we were taking a lot of pictures and, taking pictures through alleys of buildings. And it just really told a really great narrative. I felt like we had a little story going on. And I thought it was very well done. It was just fun. I had a good time playing this.
And that's, when you read like the mission books, a lot of it's fairly tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. They have a little comic strip at the beginning. And we were reading those with, exaggerated voices. And it was fun. We had a good time with it. Like, really did.
This whole scenario, which is the first one, it's one of the Legion, one of the Hell Troopers.
Is retiring.
It's his retirement
Steve.
party.
His name is Steve.
Yeah, and the Mayhem guys are like, we're going to blow up the building whilst it's their retirement party. And so you have this huge fight to try and not blow up the party. It's cheesy, but
Yeah, but it's something you can see happening in the world of superheroes versus supervillains, right?
Yeah.
It just worked. I thought it was cool. I think bravo on those scenarios because I was looking through all of them, and they even get more and more.
You get these doomsday
involved.
devices.
Yeah, there's a golem in there. There's dudes that are just fully armored with big shields, and it's like, oh, this is. I would love to play all of the scenarios, and
and that's one of the things. You can put all the scenarios together. You can make a campaign that you play through. As you play a mission, after the mission, you get a whole bunch of upgrades that you put on your
little
guys.
gadgets or abilities. Yeah,
and the more you win, the more of those you get.
Yeah.
So there is really incentive, especially if you're playing a progressive game, to do well in the missions and to capture certain spawn points that might, or certain objective markers, which aren't part of your actual victory conditions.
Yeah.
But there's an incentive to go and get those as well.
Well, it was funny. These two that were extra. You got like an extra crystal.
Yeah, an extra dark matter crystal, extra gadget.
But I mean, they were out of the way. If you're going to try to go get those, you're literally going to waste probably 2 turns. And that's expensive.
Yeah, that's a lot of activations, and this is an activation-based economy.
Yeah. Now, I guess if you really need that next upgrade, it might be worth it because I'm going to get a special rocket launcher,
or being opportunistic about it. Oh,
Right.
I happen to be the guy's kind of near there. Maybe I can
Run up
I can run him up in a circular way,
Right.
flip that over, and then kind of come back.
down, yeah.
So, but that's what this game gives you. It's kind of cheesy and corny and over the top as it is. The actual tactical gameplay is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's
whilst being fairly simple.
Well, I would disagree with that statement. I felt the first time we played it, it was a little bit fiddly, but it was because it is heavy on iconography.
Very, yes.
And you have to understand exactly what those icons mean. Now, they do give you a very nice condensed player aid.
That is very comprehensive, yes.
That after the first 3 or 4 turns, I think we had it. We're also gamers, so that helped a lot. But I felt like it was a little fiddly at first. I'm not so sure this wouldn't be a game that you really need someone who understands it to help you understand it. But you can get that through playing it. There's no doubt through playing. By the 3rd or 4th round, I think we had it. But a little bit fiddly because there are a lot of parts.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of...
But it's cool because it gives you a lot of options too, though.
But from the tactical standpoint, it's... There's front-facing, back-facing...
Right.
Up and down, you're just trying to get advantage by moving and shooting. And
in that regard, I think it's very comfortable if you've played tactical games.
No, because in a lot of miniatures games, it's like, how you move. Oh, this guy does this. It brings these guys with him, or all these command ranges and all this extra layers.
Right.
It's just this guy. He's gonna run over here. He's gonna jump up 2 layers, and then boom. Now he can shoot down here and do stuff.
And get an extra dice because he's advantaged.
Yeah, it's so. And it feels cool doing the super insane stuff.
Yeah, it does.
There's like a whole deck of Mayhem cards that you then, at this side economy, you're trying to grow and get these Mayhem points to get these really cool, insane things to do, which is like destroying buildings or making crazy moves, doing extra powerful attacks, stuff like that.
And in looking through that Mayhem deck, there are a lot of really great ones in there. The one I randomly got was okay. It actually allowed me to get everything back that I used that round, so it kind of gave me an extra round to do another set of actions, which I thought was very powerful. But there are a lot of really good ones in there. And they're actually ones for each of your unique guys. Yes. So there were 3 or 4 for Hollywood, there were 2 or 3 for, what's her name? Fortune, and then 3 or 4 for Hardtack.
Yes.
And I think it was almost the same for you.
Yeah, mine's slightly different, but that some of them are more tailored to certain characters.
Yeah.
But they also have a generic use on them. Not as good, but it
discarded to get a couple of resource cubes.
Yes.
I really liked the economy of the resources, trying to figure out, you have a couple different colors, and most of your actions require 2 of one color and sometimes one of another color.
Yeah.
And you really have to make a decision. Well, if I do this, I won't be able to do it next round. So you've got to kind of balance that. Do I really do a powerful action, Or do I just do a decent action this time so next time I can do another action?
Because, you don't want to blow all of that stuff, and then you leave yourself kind of exposed because
Yeah.
you can't do any of your reactionary dashing or blocking
Right.
that you might be able to do. The other part of that is we've played a fair few games, not that are like this, but that are like board game miniatures games.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have kind of an economy like that. Things like Conan has
Right.
those that little kind of gem
The gems
economy
you
as
have,
well.
yeah. Very similar concept here.
But it's this mechanic that I really enjoy.
Yep.
Because, you got all this tactics and all these crazy cards and abilities, but
Yeah.
you have to be really careful about that little resource economy. And there's a little bit of luck in it, so you have these refresh cards.
Which are very cool. I like
this
those
is very
a lot.
clever. Basically, you'll have like 3 player boards, and when you activate one for a turn, you do all the stuff with that one guy, and what happens is that the 2 boards that didn't activate, they will refresh, and you pull this card randomly, and it has like, they get a cube, they get a shield, they refresh one status, positive and negative they have, and then they get a cube
health.
for a
Yep.
Reinforcement, and that's unique for the Legion side.
Yep.
But these are all different. Some of them it's like, you just get like 3 cubes,
Yeah.
and then like a blank or a special ability, or some of
Right.
them you get other things that happen. So whilst you're doing something with this guy, these guys kind of rest a little bit and get some
Yeah.
cubes back. But it's not always, you're not always sure how many you get
Right.
or where those land.
Well, I
things
do
that.
like the fact that you draw that, I think,
You draw it
at the beginning of the turn, so you can kind of look at it and then examine your 3 characters and kind of say, okay, this is what I'm getting back. In order to maximize that, here's what I got to do. Or you can just decide, well, I'm going to have to do the best move possible because coming near the end, or I got to get this as objective. So yeah, I really like that. It also was very cool, although it hampered me. My first 2 or 3 drawn were the ones that took wounds away.
Yeah.
And guess what? Didn't have wounds until the 3rd or 4th round when you attacked me because we were moving into position. So it was unfortunate, but I liked that because it created some extra tension and it really created an environment where I had to really think about it.
Well, and that's,
I like that.
This deck is 12 cards, and that marks a round. I'm going to have 12 activations. You're going to have 12 activations. At the end of that, you move on to the next round. You shuffle all this back in, so then you get it back again. And then it's, those appear at the end of this deck. Now I've gone 2 full cycles basically without any healing. So there is some randomness with that can hurt you, it can help you.
But that's a cool aspect because it's another thing it's almost a mini game within the game. And there are 3 or 4 of those.
Yeah, there's some good subsystems in this that learning the game, it was kind of like, because I've been reading this for about a week now.
Yeah.
There's a lot, because it's all done with icons, and you go back and forth with some tutorial scenarios where it's like, set this up, and like, this is what this means, this is what it does. So I kind of was getting it all, but the little subsystems are really neat. Mm-hmm. And once you get into the game, you just do it. It's not something where I'm like, I have to remember to like do this and then that.
Yep.
I didn't feel like it was work. Some games with a lot of Chrome feel like work, and I didn't feel like that quite like
it actually was fairly intuitive once you got the icons down.
Yes.
I thought. The other thing I really liked about some of the attacks was you were able to put a condition on the enemy that you were attacking. And I can't remember what one was stun.
Yes.
But that was really cool because then it required you to think differently about your economy. Because with a stun token on your guy, you're having to actually pay
every time you activate it. You have to
cubes.
2 cubes just to activate.
And that's expensive. And I think at one time I had 2 of them on 2 different guys of yours, and it started to hamper you a little bit. And then they get taken away with certain cards that come up.
Yeah, they get refreshed fairly.
So they're not on there forever. What was the one that I locked one of your resource cubes?
That was a disrupt.
Yeah, that was really cool. Just a lot of very interesting kind of curveballs that you had to really think through.
And all of these, and there's a bunch of positive statuses as well. All of those are like buffs and debuffs from the video game.
Right.
And they've just kind of translated it into this board game fashion. And I never played that video game.
Me either.
But I've played my fair share of them, and they make sense, and they're probably pretty decent relative to what they would do in that
in the
kind
game
of system as well. The explosion tokens I thought were really neat as well.
Well, there's a bunch of what are there, like 20 of those, and you literally draw randomly.
Yeah, they're all face down. You just draw it, and this is the explosion you get, and it's either really big or it's small or it's medium.
Well, and the other thing I really like about it is it has an explosion pattern.
Yeah, it does it for you.
And you made the comment, "Oh, I almost killed myself."
Yep, and
because they're not.
I didn't know I was going to do that.
Yeah, they're not all the same. Some are huge. Look at that one. It's like the entire.
Yeah,
like the entire tile. But I thought this was cool. It was a random, unknown element. Actually, this felt a lot like Conflict of Heroes and its damage tokens.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, that's something they borrowed from another system that we've played and enjoyed. I really like that. I would like to use more grenades. I didn't have any of them. And I thought, ooh, that's cool. And you use that near the end of that
gadgets
game.
And things but yeah, those are neat because it's short. The size of the explosion's random, but it also has the color of the dice that you roll for the attack is random, and then it'll do damage to the buildings as well.
Yeah,
and the buildings have a certain number of hit points based on how tall they are. So after a couple of explosions, this layer is going to fall off. You just take these off, and then your building is much smaller than it was. And anyone who was on this level that the building falls on is going to take dice damage.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 4 red dice, right?
Yeah,
there's going to be at least 4 or 5
crazy stuff that happens in this. And the first time you play it, sometimes all these different chain reactions that happen, you kind of look it up in the rules to make sure you're doing it right.
So it takes a little time.
But once you've done it a couple of times, it's fairly intuitive.
Yeah.
You know, things blow up, you're like, maybe we should check to see if the building falls down.
Right.
Oh, it did, great. But it's just, it's just fun.
Well, and this is a game that you're going to sit down, you're going to play through, and you're going to have a good time. And you're going to feel like it's telling a great narrative.
Yes.
I really believe that. So, plus the vantages are really cool. You know, what was that game that we've played from Wedo Workshops that you have? What is that? Giant Killer Robots.
Giant Killer Robots, yeah.
That also has 3D buildings that you can tag, and totally different company.
Yeah.
But I got the same feel from that because I was like looking around buildings,
this is how I'm
trying to
playing the game.
understand. And it was just, one time I put my camera here and shot like this way. It was just really neat. Just a different style of tactical game. And I liked it. I had a good time.
What I'll do is I'll show you at least a little bit closer, just some of the economies work and some of the things. They've got really good rules explanations online. So I'll just show you a bit of that and we'll wrap up with a few final thoughts. So here's kind of just a quick look at the boards. This is kind of a corner of the board we're playing on. See, we've got a couple miniatures on the top floor of building 3. This is the Mayhem side. You have 3 player boards. You can't see the one down here, but we'll take a look at Hollywood. These are the little kind of tracks and holding boxes that you have for your different resources. So Focus uses yellow cubes, Speed uses these green cubes. This is kind of your resource for your action economy. If Hollywood was to take a turn, if he wanted to do an attack, he would have to spend 1 green and 1 yellow cube. So once those are used up, he obviously can't activate that. Now, when he does this, he can do an attack. He also gains 3 movement points, which means he can move 3 spaces. Hollywood's right here. He can move 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. If he does that, though, what you can do is you can take this little jump action, and the jump action allows you to move up or down 1 level. So if you were, if you were on a building, or if you were on the floor down here, he wanted to move 3 spaces, he could take the jump action and go 1, 1, 2, and then jump up 3. So there's a lot of swinging from the ropes, taking a jump action, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you have the movement points for it, it's kind of crazy. Some of the guys have a jump 2. They can just sit here and go woo all the way up to the top. And then they can start running around. So from that standpoint, very kind of video game where you get the high jumps. You jump up here, take a pot shot, all that kind of stuff, because you can do it all with this action. And you can tag on some other bits and pieces depending on what your gadgets are that you've got. This is a card that you slide in here. So this gadget here, which is the run and gun stock, you slide it in here. That's the weapon upgrade that that he has. There are some status markers here. This one is he has a defensive negative, so anyone who attacks him has attack advantage. He also has +3 movement points whenever he activates. So if he does the attack action when he activates, he's got 6 moves. We tag on the jump, he can move 6 spaces and jump up a level or jump down a level. All this kind of craziness that goes on. What happens is at the beginning of your turn, you draw one of these refresh cards. You've got a deck of 12 of those. You pull it, and you just consult the symbols. What this is if we're activating Hollywood, the other 2 guys, Hardtack and Fortune, at the end of the round, at the end of the turn, they're going to gain 1 cube each of either of those 3 colors. They're going to gain 1 shield back, and they're going to have 1 status, both positive and negative, removed from them. So you pull that, and you say, okay, who do I want to activate? Who do I want to give these to? Because whoever you activate will not get those. Everyone else will. So you might be in a bind where, okay, Hardtack's got a whole bunch of his stuff, so I'll activate him so that these guys can refill 1 each. You know, he can get a green, she can get a green, and then he'll get a shield back. That other shield's wasted on him, but we can remove this negative status. It also removes a positive one, and it's going to remove this Mayhem status from her as well. So there's this really neat little refresh economy to get your cubes back so that you can then get them back into action and do that. How vulnerable do you want to leave yourself if you keep sitting there not doing anything, getting those refreshes? That's a whole action. They kind of have a whole dynamic there. But the really fun stuff is getting uptight and then using these attack abilities. So you'll see the attack here has a red, yellow, and a white. Those correspond to the custom dice that this game comes with, which I am always a huge fan of. So you got these here with their custom symbols on them. The more sides the dice has, the better it is. So for example, if Hollywood's here, anyone who's within range 4, spoiler alert, she's within range 4, we're going to roll 2. Oh, we're going to roll 3 dice. It says 3 here. 3 red dice. Now the problem is that our attack goes through this red line, which is an obstacle. So one of these dice is going to get downgraded to a yellow one. So we're going to chuck those dice, and then basically we read the tea leaves, and these are 2 push symbols, and this is a damage symbol. So we're going to do 1 damage to her, and then we're going to push her back 2 spaces. And you can see how precarious this is, because she's going to fall off the building. So when she falls off the building, she's going to go back 2 spaces, and fall off the building. Because that was a forced push off a building, she's going to take damage. If she chooses to jump down, in cool kind of superhero video game style, you jump down and you land with aplomb, and a dust cloud goes up behind you and you walk away and you don't look back. But when you're forced off, bad things happen to you. So for each floor you fall down, so this is 2 levels, you roll 2 red dice worth of damage. So she takes 1 damage from falling, and she's going to roll 2 dice worth of damage. So she's going to take 2 more damage. That was it. And she's going to die. So very bad. She only had the 2 hit points. So we only did 1 damage to her, but her falling kills her. So yay. And we get a victory point for that in this scenario. Now, if you are pushed off a building, most characters have an option to dash, where in reaction they can spend a green and a yellow cube to land on their feet. So that sounds like that's nice and easy at first, but that becomes a very, very costly way to save your life, especially for kind of a minion like that. You're like, oh, we'll die and just get more guys out instead. But to save your elites, you might consider doing that just to try and make it a little bit easier for yourself. So that's another little subsystem with your attacking and defending yourself as blocking. A lot of triggers that happen. So after we did that run and gun attack, we give ourselves this +3 movement upgrade. That's just free. It happens when we did our attack. Awesome. And that's with these gadgets and upgrades, you get into lots of chains of doing awesome things. The more you play this, the better it gets, is what I'll say with that. And then it would be time to do those refresh actions. So all of these would then happen to everyone but whoever activated. And then it flips to the Legion side. They do exactly the same thing. They have a refresh deck. They pull a refresh card that's got a bunch of symbols on it. Then they activate one of their 3 boards, and they go, and you just go at it until someone's met the objectives or the timer runs out. That's really the game. Now, there is a whole bunch of extra stuff here. There's almost too much to go into in a video, but there's a ton of good learning videos that Academy put out, so go and check those out. But just wanted to give you an idea of some of the simplicity of the game. It's really not massively complex. It's getting the iconography down and some of the crunch of the rules. Once you play it, you're like, okay, that makes sense. It makes sense how it works, and understanding it's really, really over the top. And so it's just about having fun, just bouncing around the map, blowing each other to hell, having a great time. So what we'll do, we'll just wrap up with a few final thoughts. So that's a look at just some of the mechanics there. All in all, the game itself was very fun.
Yes.
I was a little bit worried because the rulebook is very big.
It is. It's a big rulebook.
And I'm like, it's a miniatures game. I guess it should be big. This is 45 pages of rules.
But it has a good index at the back.
Very good.
Because we use that a couple of times.
And it's broken up into sections that, like, they teach you, like, this is movement. They teach you that first.
Combat.
They're like, set up one building. This is how you move. Mm-hmm. And then they teach you the shooting. This is how you shoot.
Yep.
And then they teach you all these other stuff. So there's a 6-part or 5-part tutorial they take you through. And then the first mission is kind of introductory. Then you start getting all of the upgrades and all the cool stuff.
There's vehicles too.
Yeah,
you
you drive around in cars. You can summon the cars. There are turrets. There's doomsday devices.
There's a lot of things to explore in this one. Yes. I think you're gonna, if you like these kind of games and you have a friend that likes them, I think you can set this up and you can play this 20, 30, 40 times and not really even cover all the things.
And that's the other thing. This has a scenario generator.
There you go.
There's a deck of cards and some rules, and it's like you can have
make your
basically,
own stuff.
I don't know if it's infinite, but so many iterations that you wouldn't even know what to do with them. There's a campaign generator. Mm-hmm. The game comes with 2 campaigns in it, I believe. But there's a campaign generator, so you can link a bunch of missions, so you can develop your guys, get more and more and more stuff.
Yeah.
So they get more powerful, so it's just even more everything.
Well, one thing I want to say about that is if you showed him the cards during the middle part of the video, there's all kinds of slots for gadgets and skills and upgraded cards, and there's a lot of growth potential there. And frankly, I know both you and I like those kind of games.
Yes.
We love a game that we're going to get new skills, new abilities. We've been playing a lot of those, Gloomhaven and
Lord of the Rings,
and the World War II Pacific card game from
Warfighter.
DVG. You beat these missions and you get an extra card or you get an extra ability or a sticker. That's what this is. And the best thing about this is you're building those points up. You can buy whatever you want.
Yes.
If you really think you like Hardtack's shotgun blast, you can make it better. Or his teleharpoon, which is really dope, by the way.
That was fun.
You can upgrade that. I was just looking through those and I'm like, man, you could play this a lot and have a lot of good fun with it.
Yes. There's a couple things with this game a word of warning, it takes up a lot of space.
It does.
I have a decently sized table. I think it's close to, I've got 3x5 or 3x5.5. And it's
about 80% covered.
I got most of the table covered and then I got a whole bunch of other stuff as well.
Yeah.
So you do need some good space for this.
Yep.
You have to have at least the board, which the board isn't that big, but then you've got all of your character boards, which take a lot of space.
All
and then
the tokens and the cards.
All the different trays of tokens and things. So you need some space for it. And then my other thing is the boards. I love the boards because they're multi-layered boards.
Yes.
So there's depressions in them for all your stuff.
So your cards don't move.
Love that.
Yeah.
The terrain's great. The only thing which I don't know if it was disappointing, some of the miniatures don't have the best detail on them.
Yeah.
That's the only real, and some of them are fairly thin and spindly.
Wispy. Yeah, my fortune was Her arms are just a little thin.
So a bit of hot water is going to fix that. But
Yeah.
just know you're probably going to have to do that on them. It's not a big deal. Just know that that's something you have to do.
Yeah.
And I probably won't paint these because the detail on them is pretty shallow. I don't know if it's going to take that well to them. And frankly, I don't care.
I think these Hell Troopers have some great detail.
Those are some of the other ones, not so much.
Yeah.
But it's something where this is not a game where I'm going to hobby it up.
Right.
There's no point.
Just play
I
it,
just
have
want
a
to
good
play
time.
it and do it. I got so many other painting
Yeah.
projects I don't even want to talk about.
Right.
It. But that's just something to know if you're like a super miniatures collector. This is a
Yeah.
game, right? You're in it for the actual game of it.
Well, and I also think putting this away and setting it up is going to take some time.
Yes,
You know.
setting it up was...
Because you got to screw these
was a
posts in,
lot.
you got to set the thing, and then all the different player boards and all the different cubes you got to put in.
Having done it, I could do it much quicker the next time.
Right.
The slowest part of it is the actual pegs on the boards.
Yeah.
So these are screwed in. They give you like little kind of nuts and bolts. You can just do it and take them off, but there is also a little, I don't know what to do with it. There's a little metal key to use in these to undo it all,
Yeah.
to make it a little bit easier so it's not so fiddly, but it's something that you have to do, but then it's not different from any other miniatures game.
Well, and it stores really well in that box. That box,
Yes.
the tray, is perfectly molded to like hold everything.
Everything goes in the box and has a specific
Perfectly,
space.
yeah.
There is a video online where you can see that, but it comes that way.
Yeah.
As long as you can kind of remember where you take things
Yep.
out, once it's all
Yep.
punched, it all goes back in there, which is very, very impressive that they did that too.
So this game was a successful Kickstarter, like near the
Last year, yeah.
end of last year, first of this year, and it debuted on the 21st. It was shipped out to the backers, and then it went to retail on the 21st
I
of
don't know
October.
about the details of that
Okay.
specifically.
Check out the Academy
But yes,
Games
it will be available
website.
on their website if it's of any interest to you. There's
Yeah.
there's expansions for it as well.
And we haven't played through those, but I'd like to play at least a couple of those. And
Yep, it's just
and
more
get a good feel
characters,
for 'em.
more variety. It's just
And
more.
variety's not a bad thing.
Nope.
When you invest $70, $80, $90 into a game, you want to play it a couple of times. Not just 2 or 3.
Yes.
You want to play it 30.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I had a really good time with this. This is a game that I felt a little hesitant going into because it did have a lot of stuff. And we play heavy war games.
Yes. This
But-
is not typically the kind of game that we would
No.
play.
But I had a good time with this. It was fun. It was engaging. I thought it caused a lot of tension. Not
Yes.
between us, but ooh, what's he going to do? And then how am I going to react to that? And it was fun. Just fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, I can't say how it relates to its IP because I've not played that, but playing the scenarios feel video game-esque.
Agreed.
I feel like I'm running to this point, trying to clear you off of it. I capture it, it becomes mine. That has an effect. I'm jumping across this building, running around,
Yeah.
popping around corners, things like that. It's very dynamic as you play it.
Yeah.
Because there are reactions that you can take, things like that. So I had a blast playing this as well.
Agreed.
Want to get my teeth into more of it, maybe play an extended campaign, grow the characters something too.
Does it have a solo?
Oh,
That's something I don't know that we looked at.
I can't remember if this one did or not.
Sorry, that's bad of us. But
No, I don't think it
okay,
has
boy, that would be if somebody could develop
I mean,
it.
you could do it.
Yeah,
The only
you just
thing-
take a priority of actions.
Yeah.
Are you near the objective? Move there. Are
Or
you
just kind of do best possible move.
true? You could do that.
The only hidden stuff are your Mayhem cards. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Which you could figure that out.
Yeah.
Just pull one out.
I like a nice developed solo system because then it usually makes sense and works
Yeah, this
well,
might
but-
be a bit too complex.
It
for
might,
that,
it
with
might.
All of the decision making you have to do.
but it's still pretty cool.
But yeah, there's nothing stopping you just playing
Right.
with it.
Best possible move.
But great to play a game. It was very fun and want to play more of it. So that's a good sign for me.
Yeah, I agree.
So I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is Agents of Mayhem, Pride of Babylon from Academy Games. It's available now. I've been Alexander.
And I've been Grant.